is Angela Rios. I'm from Arlington, Texas, and I attend the Southeast branch of Tarrant County College, which is located in Arlington. I will graduate this month with my Associate of Arts degree, and what appealed to me as I researched this job position at Petco is that I would be able to perform a variety of tasks within the store, and I would be able to help out in many ways, such as by providing care for animals and also helping guests with their shopping needs for their pets as they arrive at the store. I want to work at Petco because I enjoy working with animals and making sure they are well. I like how Petco puts an emphasis on being a store associate who genuinely cares about handling the different types of animals within the store and properly caring for them. I admire this about the store, and I believe that my qualifications and experience in providing care for others and also helping guests with their needs would allow me to provide a services for both guests and also for the pets that are in the store. And as a owner of 3 pets, I think that my personality would work well with the guests, and I would be able to communicate with them and share similar experiences with them. A problem that I have solved was during a charity event that I volunteered at with an organization called Mission Arlington. The event that was hosted was called the Mission Arlington Christmas Store, and this event allowed parents in need to choose free gifts for their children for Christmas. As a volunteer, I was paired with a parent, and I explained to them how many gifts they could choose and what types of gifts were available to choose from. The volunteer leader paired the volunteers with parents, and I was able to help solve a problem when the event volunteer came up to me and asked for my help because he needed to communicate with a parent who only spoke Spanish. Since I'm bilingual and can speak both Spanish and English, I was able to help the lady, and I explained to her the gifts that she could choose, and I translated back to the volunteer leader, and they were able to communicate with my help since I was able to translate. And this allowed the lady to be able to understand what they were saying to her, and she was thankful for my help, and I was happy to be able to help her. My goals are to continue my higher education by attending a 4-year university. I would also like to be a physician in the future, so I see myself in medical school and completing medical training in the next 5 to 10 years. Currently, I would like to work at Petco, and I believe my work and volunteer experiences that I have obtained during my time in college would allow me to perform my job duties and the requirements here at Petco. The most useful skill that I learned in school is that I had to advocate for myself when I didn't understand information in my classes. For example, last semester I was in a macroeconomics class, and towards the end of the semester I was struggling with understanding a lesson regarding assets and liabilities. I was a bit overwhelmed because this information was important for the final exam that was going to be soon in that class. I decided to reach out to my professor and go to her office hours where I was able to ask questions, and I received a lot of clarity on the confusion that I had. I realized that I had to seek help from those around me, such as my professor or tutors in the campus, if I wanted to be successful in my class, because ultimately I was the one responsible for my education. Yes, I have experience working in a fast-paced environment. For instance, I have worked with an organization called the Rania Langston Foundation at multiple events that were hosted at the AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. I worked at a food stand that was constantly busy with customers placing orders before and also during the events. Some of the tasks that I had were taking orders, filling cups with beverages, and also communicating back with my coworkers in the kitchen about special requests that customers had. I worked about 5 hours per shift at these events, and I learned how important it was to not only communicate effectively with both guests and my coworkers, but it was also important to move fast in this environment so that customers could get their food in a timely manner. Yes, I can work well unsupervised. I have past work experience as a home childcare provider where I worked 9 hours a day without any supervision from parents. I was responsible for the health and well-being of 3 children, which included a small 1-year-old child. I made sure to follow the instructions that were left to me by the parents, and these instructions included at what times to feed the children, what specific foods the small child could eat, and also about how to prepare the formula bottles for him. Since I was the only person that was taking care of the children, I was able to protect their safety as well by making sure that they didn't open the front door, and by also taking care of them by making sure that there were no small toys left on the ground that they could have an injury by tripping over. Some of my strengths are that I am able to work well with people and communicate with them regarding what their needs are. For example, I have volunteered with an organization called the Kids Matter International Organization, and during the events that I participated in, I worked at a Kohl's department store that sells clothes, and I walked with parents around the store and helped them shop, and I gave them recommendations about what clothing items they could choose depending on what styles they told me that they preferred. Another one of my strengths is that I was able to speak up for the guests that I was helping, and if I didn't know where a specific item was in the store, I made sure to ask a store associate, and they were able to explain to me where this item could be found, and I then explained this to the family that I was helping. A weakness of mine that I struggled with was multitasking, and I specifically struggled with multitasking when I volunteered with the Ronnie Langston Foundation at the events that were hosted at the AT&T Stadium. Some of the tasks that I had to do required me to multitask, such as take customer orders and gather snacks that customers had requested, such as peanuts and pickles. And this was a bit different from what I had been used to because I had never worked in a food stand that was in such a busy environment like a stadium. So it required me a bit of work at the beginning when I first started volunteering. I overcame this struggle by asking the leaders that I was working with at the end of the shifts about what they recommended me to do in order to work faster and be able to do multiple things at once. And I reflected on these tips that they gave me, and they have allowed me to work faster at these events that I volunteer at. Yes, I actually have 2 questions. My first question is, what are some of the specific daily activities that I would do to help Petco reach its assigned sales goal? And would these sales goals be daily, weekly, or would they be more of monthly goals? My second question is regarding the care that I would provide to the animals at Petco. Would the hourly health check and wellness cards be more of a list that I would check off information, like checking off that I cleaned a specific animal's habitat? Or would it be more of a report format where I would write down the steps that I took on the cards? Thank you for taking the time to listen to my interview. I appreciate the opportunity to talk a little bit more about myself and share more about the qualities that I believe would help me be effective in this sales associate position at Petco. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my questions, and I look forward to hearing more from the company.